everybody in this podcast has both wore two hats, head coach and assistant. What are some differences between being a head coach and an assistant coach?
Honestly, I don't think there is no difference. My coach at Charlotte used to always preach this quote to his assistants, and he used to always tell them, I'm not as good as my assistants. So if my assistants, whatever my assistants are, that's how good I'm going to be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because those are the extra eyes that I can't see everything else that is going on. But those extra 6 to 8 eyes, they're always going to see the extra that you don't see. And so I'm only going to be as good as my assistant coaches. Even now, I feel that way. And I'm one of those guys that can take my ego out and say, what did you see? What should we go? What do you need? What sub we need to make? Do you have a play? What do you have in mind? Because it's not just about me.
Right.
It's about the win. And as a win, you got to get those collectively. Yeah. So I'm only as good as my assistants.
Was there any adjustment from going from like head coach to assistant coach?
Toning my level down is the one thing I think I had to understand, and understand that I'm his second voice, but I can't be a voice over him. So I had to learn to defer and wait my turn before I express. Like as a head coach, you always on top of stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? Especially for me, like I'm thinking of the next thing, and the next thing, so I can prepare myself for the next thing. As an assistant, I'm doing that, but I gotta wait. Hold on. Let me let him do his thing, and then I'm gonna say, yo, coach, this is what I saw. The biggest thing I think I had to learn was to defer and wait.
Gotcha. Wayne, Trey?
Well, I would say, and kind of going along with DeJuan, I mean, it is a moment where you have to tone down your level. You know, I mean, y'all all know me. I'm the most intensest guy on the sideline, sweating, slapping the floor, sliding on defense with my boys and everything. That's just me. But, you know, it's funny that when I first sat on that bench as assistant coach, I got almost so many texts of almost stand up. Coach, you only had one person stand. So that was one of the biggest adjustments for me, just sitting my butt down, you know what I mean, allowing my voice, you know, calling people to the sideline. But I feel like when you have a good conglomerate of coaches and everyone respects each other, it makes it easy to be in that adjustment, you know, to go from being, because really in a sense, a good staff is full of head coaches.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's almost like a football setup. You know, that's a head coach, but then you got the offense coordinator, you got a defense coordinator, you got a special teams coach. Like everyone is a head in their own right, but at the same time, we're just coming together, put our heads together to be one collective whole unit. Now, there is a name that sits up top of there as far as the head, but when that head coach, like you say, is looking at his staff like I'm only as good as my staff is, it makes it a great situation for the players itself. So it kind of makes it an easy transition to go from being a head coach to assistant and vice versa.
Correct.
Because, you know, as an assistant going to a head, now you're putting in more of a leader role to have to manage more. You know, we have to check the temperatures of our players a lot more now. You know, you really have to be aware of the mental health, the mental state that kid is in the moments, you know, which is something we should have done always, though, but it's become more and more prevalent to where these kids are affected more. So, I mean, being an assistant, that's somewhat of my role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where I don't need my head coach having to be worried about when he pulls somebody out, like the attitude or what they're going through, you know, getting them back ready to get back in the game. I feel like that's what, you know, the systems are for and everything like that. So, you know, everyone having a defined role, you know, helps the team flow better more than anything else, and that whole coaching staff flow better. Because the coaching staffs I see that are most successful is like everyone has a voice, an equal voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not where, you know, he has to, man, coach ain't hear what I'm saying, you know what I'm trying. Yeah, when you get stuff like that going on, that's when you get a divide. Then the players start picking sides of who they see divide. And next thing you know, it's a split locker room, you know, a split coaches room. And that's when you see where opportunities are getting dwindled with teams that may have the talent and everything like that. But what may be going on is not necessarily the players, maybe with the coaching staff.
Correct.
So, you know, you got to look at all those different things as far as what makes up a good coach, assistant coach, and a good coaching staff. But I feel like being on the same page, having an equal voice, allows the staff to be sufficient and be successful more than anything else.
Yeah. And I guess I'd say inside two separate scenarios. So with me and Wayne, me going from like battling with Wayne to then being an assistant with Wayne, I think the first adjustment was kind of like finding my foot.
Yeah.
Because one, it's already kind of like a weird thing because our rival pretty much was these guys. So we had rim. Every gym that we went into, everybody was arguing. Pretty much it was almost like a hate, love, hate.
Yeah. It was a North Nate Chambers game every time we played.
Yeah, every time we played. So with that, I guess it was twofold. So one, it was a bit of kind of finding my footing within that.
Yeah.
And then like you said, like understanding how to tone down. Because I was used to for like 3 years just running a program of practice all the way through. Like I was used to having that voice. So when I first came, I almost was like just sitting and just watching it because I had to understand. You used the word culture earlier. Like, all right, so what's the culture here? Like we did start here, but we had about a 3-year gap. Yeah. I need to see what's actually happening here.
Where's the growth and where have things changed? Where have things grew at? You know, because
And then after that, it was kind of like finding my way to be myself still. In which, like, the good thing with him was that, like, we already had a rapport and a trust because we competed. Like, he done beat my ass, I done beat his ass. We done had close games. We done did the entire thing. We done seen adjustments on both sides. Like, all right, there's a mutual respect. And then from there, like, we became almost like really easy to ping pong off of to where it was an ebb and flow where, like, I can make an adjustment. It's not anything. Wayne make an adjustment. We can kind of run a practice to where, like, sometimes my voice is the loudest, sometimes his voice is the only voice. Like, it was never like a real issue inside that to where we kind of had like a mutual respect to where it worked itself out. I'd say the most recent time that I did the assistant coach thing, the first part was the developing trust with that coach, where like they might bring you on because a little bit of what they know of you, but then they have to, through the process of whether it's, you know what I mean, like you breaking down things in practice, the adjustments that you're able to suggest in the game, but eventually like you have to gain their trust to where they lean on you more. Yeah. And that was something within the last time that I was assistant coach that, you know, it was like, okay, all right, so I understand like this person's kind of like this version. So I'm gonna make sure I make myself useful, throw little nuggets to where eventually I can get to where I want to be at when it comes down to getting them to understand the value in which I can bring as a basketball man. Yeah. But yeah, Trey, I don't think you answered yet.
Man, I take a lot of pride in being an assistant. Being a head is hard. Yeah. And I commend all the guys that's on the sideline and take them L's, and you win and you lose, and when you win, you still lose because the parent mad about the playing time. And I just had that, you know, and it's, you know, being an assistant, I'm finding joy in just like the things y'all talked about, like sitting there and seeing what player is tired. Okay, get him a sub. Oh, he getting beat. Let's try somebody else. You in this defense, try something else. I like doing that because when you the head, slow down so much. Yeah, because when you the head, you know, you go in with a game plan, and then sometimes you just stay stuck on what you practice. You ain't thinking about adjustment. So you like, man, yeah, you might try something else, but like that's why you need that good assistant. Like, coach, that ain't working. Yeah, that ain't working. You know, so me, I like the assistant role. I ain't got to be the guy.
Oh no, listen, it's so much less.
Yeah, it
I ain't
is.
gonna lie to you.
Shout out the heads out there. Y'all can keep that.
Listen, if you a head coach, listen, I done had them losses where, especially the loss where you supposed to win.
Yeah. I just had one. Don't bring that up.
Man, you feel a way too. But I just go home and take a nap. I'd be like, God damn. Feel it right here.
Didn't I just come back in here talking about what happened yesterday? Yeah. I was still thinking about that. We should have won the game. We didn't get the inbound, and there you go. We go into overtime and we lose. We would be headed to the Final Four. Really?
No, that's one thing that's like that's it. It's everywhere's the crown, bro. That's one there. Yeah. But like you mentioned, you know, like you win games and you still lose because everyone's not everyone's not happy for each other.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that part too.
Yeah. You know, and that's the thing that, you know, you start to see a lot now. And I don't know if it's more so the kids or the generation or what it is. Because I know the one you see, you know what I'm talking about, bro. It's like that before, kids to be just so happy to win.
I don't think it's realistic.
It's the parents.
I don't think that's a realistic expectation for everybody to be happy and on the same page no more.
Yeah,
I bought into the fact that even if that kid plays well, the parents still will find a way to find something to nitpick about with that kid.
And this
whether you took him out early, and he took a bad shot, while the other kid, and it's always a comparison to
another kid on the team.
Kid. So you're never gonna win that battle because, well, Wayne shot that shot, but why you take my son out?
Oh Lord,
because your son
Wayne
can't
shot
shoot.
The same shot.
Your son can't shoot, and he trying to do what the other one do.
But that's my explanation. Well, guess what? I've seen Wayne in the gym working on that shot.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of. So I'm going to allow Wayne to shoot that shot.
So don't be mad at his volleyball line 3.
Well, and I think a lot to your point is too, bro, is the parents have been given a voice they didn't really have when we came up.
Yeah.
Amen.
Like
access to the coach.
Like I was watching a pod where he said, man, I remember getting cussed out by my coach, then getting cussed out in the car by my parent because the coach had to cuss me out.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of thing used to be where a parent didn't necessarily didn't really go against the coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not unless it was just something blatantly out there that, I got to protect my child. But for the most part, when it came to basketball, it wasn't, my dad never said, my grandma was at every game.
Yeah.
Every game. She hooped. My grandma hooped that second ward back in the 50s, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she know the game better than some people I know right now.
Yeah.
But she never said nothing. But Pops never said nothing. It was always like, what your coach say?
Mm-hmm.
What your coach say? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because there was a level of respect for that coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? And allowing that coach to coach your kid in the way he needed to be coached.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now we've, and I say we because I've been a coach, a head coach, assistant coach. We've given too much room for parents to
have a voice.
Yeah.